Hi, my name is Obi Austin Wando, and this is our few minutes wisdom nugget. Today, we'll take a deep dive into succession planning. Succession planning is a strategy for identifying and developing future leaders at your company. Note that this is not just for top roles, but for all major roles on all levels within the organization. It helps businesses prepare for contingencies by preparing high potential workers for advancement within the organization. Also note that succession planning is not just a one-time administrative task. It requires continued employee development and consistent yearly or biannual reviews. It is critical to take a measured approach when introducing succession planning into an organization for the first time. The first step in the process is to define the scope, the goals, and objectives of the plan. This will be your working document for the process. Break it down to the smallest portions that you can. Some plans can be for 5 years. Determine what to achieve in all the years, starting from year one to fifth year, and how to measure success, what to review, when to review, and so on. This is a critical point of the process as it prevents future hiccups and ensures consistency for you. The next step will be to identify your critical roles. These are roles that have a high impact on your organization's performance, innovation, and differentiation. Let your chosen definition of critical roles drive your plan and your action. You can ask questions like, why are these roles critical? What's the day-to-day impact of this position on our company and or department? If the person currently in this position left now, how will that affect our operations? Do we have an identifiable successor? Does this role require unique skill sets or knowledge base? Are there availability of external candidates for this role? If a vacancy in a position would impact the organization's ability to accomplish their mission, it should then be classified as critical. You can create a vulnerability matrix or identification questionnaire to actually help you with this. Another step for me would be to build the success profiles or eligibility requirements, which is to develop a profile of the position and the performance expectations. One of the major pitfalls to note in this portion of the process is to ensure that you do not build this criterion around an individual. It should and must be built around the position. This step is very critical as it will provide you with information on the knowledge, the skills, and abilities you should consider for each key role when selecting and developing leaders. And it will also guide your incumbents in selection and hold them accountable for the selection. Ask yourself questions like, what selection criteria will be used to fill this position if it were vacant? What knowledge, skills, and abilities or competencies are needed in this position to achieve or ensure success? What is the mission critical and what is the nice to have for this role? What behavioral traits will lead to a successful performance in this role? Is this role that of an individual contributor or a people leader? Note that focusing on qualified positions rather than people offers so many benefits, one of which could be fostering a culture of trust and fairness and discovering unexpected and highly qualified candidates that may emerge through the competitive process. It could also reduce the risk that a pre-selected candidate may leave the organization before they've even assumed the successor positions, and it could increase employee engagement because of the creation of career path. Note that this profile must be treated as a live action as it requires consistent updates and reviews as roles within your organization shift, because they will definitely shift. For me, the next step will then be to take or identify a talent pipeline. Using the profile that you've created, you can identify positions that are well suited to temporarily transition into the successor position should a vacancy arise. These positions may also be qualified to apply for the successor positions when the announcement is made. Ask yourself questions like, what are the best aligned duties between the two positions? Does the position have similar day-to-day experiences in the functional areas and tasks performed for the successor role? What are the gaps between the two roles? Does the position cultivate the core competencies needed to perform the successor role? You might also consider sharing succession requirements and criteria openly with employees to encourage transparency, trust, and engagement with the entire process. After this, it is then time to nominate successors. Once you have developed an understanding of which competencies is required, you then invite leaders to nominate qualified employees and also invite employees to express their interests. Making the opportunity and the candidate requirement transparent cultivates equity and trust in the process and helps employees see potential career trajectories for their role. To help do this, you can ask questions like, if we were to hire for this position internally, which employees will be the strongest candidates for stepping into this role? Will these candidates require training? If they do, what type of trainings will they require? Does this person sustain high performance? Do they demonstrate a measurable positive impact on the organization's performance? Is this individual recognized by colleagues, customers, and managers as a future leader? Do they demonstrate the organization's values? Do they innovate and improve their current functional areas? The questions you can ask are endless. There's no hard and fast rule. Note that while the obvious successor to the role may be the person who is immediately next in line in the organizational chart, it is important not to discount other promising employees. Look for people who display skills necessary to thrive in higher positions, regardless of what their current title states. And then you speak to these candidates and let them know about the plan. It is extremely important to remind candidates that the position is not guaranteed to anyone as it depends on performance. And an employee may be removed from consideration should their performance fall below certain expectations that have already been set. The next step for me would be to then assess development needs of a candidate selected in line with the success profile that has been created. And then after this step, you then create a viable development plan. This plan should be individually customized for each succession candidate and are designed to help candidates close gaps in their skill sets and or experiences. Creating talent, the development plan is the major brunt of effective succession planning. It is also important to ask the incumbent to identify opportunities for the successor as well. Successor development opportunities could include one, creating a succession development plan with training and learning opportunities that are aligned with the position. Two, you could participation in functional areas of the current incumbent's role, especially the areas that are outside the successor's experience, and so many other steps. After this, it is time to monitor and adjust the plan as necessary, while also integrating it into the hiring strategy. Note that by evaluating your organization's succession plan efforts each year, you can continually improve both your succession planning strategy and your organization's effectiveness. When evaluating your succession planning program, consider the following. It could be your current state versus your past state. It could be the number of qualified ready now versus the number before the succession plan started. You could also evaluate the organization performance overall and the retention rate. It is endless. Like all things, this is a cumbersome, but I can assure you a worthwhile process. Thank you.